The Sacred Mass, Chapter 57, A New Pair of Shoes. A few days passed after that incident, and once again Helmer was spending a lazy afternoon with nothing to do with his time on this world, and he had tried catching up on his sleep, but it did not work. He had nightmares if he slept alone. He went to Sunshine and he said, "I want to spend the rest of the afternoon with Seabreeze." "That makes me very happy," said Sunshine, smiling half warmly. And Helmer took the baby with Pandora following along. Because, Seabreeze is like his granddaughter. He made his way towards the chapel and he sat down in the back aisle. He waited and he waited. An unfamiliar priest tried to approach him, but he made himself invisible. And since it was the late afternoon, the priest and the lay followers were preparing for Mass. Father Ambrose eventually entered the chapel and he was sporting the shoes that Helmer had gifted him. With this visual confirmation, Helmer settled down to sleep after feeding Seabreeze, and the other priests started whispering and pointing at Helmer and unattended to approach the Arch Magus because of the presence of Pandora in her fairy form. Helmer awoke after a peacefully napping for 2 hours, and he regarded his granddaughter Seabreeze with a smile. As the mother she returned, he looked about and then he noticed all of the church mouses glaring at him. "I can see that I'm not wanted, Seabreeze," said Helmer to his granddaughter. "Let's go home." Seabreeze giggled in response. Ambrose saw Helmer walking out of the church, and he could have flown out of there, but he was not in the mood to return home anytime soon. And while he slowly walked out of the church, Ambrose intercepted him. "Is that your granddaughter?" asked Ambrose, giving a warm smile. "Yes, see, she has my eyes," said Helmer, showing Ambrose the little Seabreeze. "Can I hold her?" asked Ambrose. "No, she's tiny and she's fragile," said Helmer. "I'll be careful, I promise," said Ambrose sadly, and he extended both his hands to receive the little tiny baby. "No," insisted Helmer. "Church mouses carry all sorts of diseases, and I do not want you tainting her." But Ambrose laughed heartily at this clever insult, and he added, "Would you like to stay for service today?" "Are you going to be guiding the Mass?" asked Helmer. "No," said Ambrose. "Goodbye then, Ambrose," said Helmer, starting to depart, and he stopped for a second. "Aside from Mass, what else do you do?" "I tidy up and prepare for the next Mass, and on the weekends I distribute aid," explained Ambrose. "Are you interested in becoming a church mouse yourself?" "I can never be a church mouse," said Helmer sadly. "When I was little, I entertained the idea of becoming a hermit living alone in the wilderness, and the idea faded away quickly after a camping trip with my father. The mosquitoes ate me from head to toe. As much as I despise people against survival-side civilization." "Why do you despise others?" asked Ambrose. "I hate them because they hate me," said Helmer, pointing to the other church mouses. "Only a fool like someone who despises them." "Yes, a fool indeed," said Ambrose, giving a timid smile. "And maybe if you gave the church mouses a chance, they will warm up to you eventually. You are the Arch Magus after all, and a cat at that. You can afford to take the risk, for mouses pose no threat to you." "I don't know," said Helmer, avoiding Ambrose's gaze. "Here, I will introduce you," said Ambrose, taking Helmer's hand. Helmer broke free and he barked. "Stop pressuring me. I get enough pressure from my family. I don't need another to bully me into doing something I don't want to." Ambrose grew somber and he bowed before saying, "I apologize, Master Helmer. It wasn't my intention to bully you. I am inexperienced and I was only trying to help." "Why?" asked Helmer. "I am a priest. It is what I do. You are a doctor and you help others for a fee, while the people of my order ask for alms," explained Ambrose. "We both provide a service. I attend to heal the wounds of the soul, while you heal the wounds of the body." "I understand," said Helmer solemnly. Ambrose looked at his time and said, "I'm sorry, I need to prepare for Mass." "Can I help you with that?" asked Helmer. "No," said Ambrose flatly. Helmer walked past Ambrose and he spoke to one of the assistants. "Ambrose said I could help with the Mass preparations. Do you have a task for me?" "Put these flyers in the little compartments in front of each of the benches," explained the assistant. Helmer threw the flyers in the air, and with his magic he made them all fall perfectly into place. And all of the church mouses gasped, and the little mouses carrying the books also went to Helmer to get him to do their work for them. And Helmer placed all of the books in their proper spot at once using his magic. "Anything else?" asked Helmer. "The rest of the work can only be done by a priest," said a boy dressed in robes. "Why?" asked Helmer. "A priest is pure, and you are not. That is why, sinner," barked the child. Helmer sighed, and then he went to speak with Ambrose. "Well, I tried. Goodbye, Ginger." Ambrose giggled, for this was the first time someone had ever given him a nickname. And Helmer looked at his pocket watch, and he saw that it was close to dinner time. And he flew back home in order to show Seabreeze what the city looked like from above. And Ambrose regarded Helmer with a sad smile. When Helmer left, Ambrose spoke to the other priests and apprentices about the Arch Magus. "The church is open to all, and your hostility to Helmer is against our core beliefs," protested Ambrose. "But father," said one of the apprentices, "that man is Wadanas's nephew. He is evil just like his dead uncle. An individual cannot choose who they are related to by blood. And as the Helmer visits, be civil, and before you speak, remember your manners, and that we are all sinners," insisted Ambrose. "Yes, Father Ambrose," said the entire staff of the church. Despite his young age, Father Ambrose's words carried a lot of weight, and he was the son of the high priest Asher, and it was believed that Ambrose would follow in his father's footsteps. And on the very day Ambrose got a letter from his father, Asher was currently brokering and arranging marriage for Ambrose, and the letter stipulated that if anyone asked, Ambrose was supposed to lie and say that he was an elf halfling, and this lie would secure a sizable dowry that would increase the family fortune. Ambrose locked himself in the confession room to cry alone for hours, and the same thought ran through his head over and over: "That bastard is selling me." The following day, Helmer returned to the church in the late afternoon, and this time he visited alone. And he looked like he had not slept at all. And he stared at all the faces of the church mouses, and instead of hatred, their eyes now only reflected disdain. And he looked about for Ambrose's red hair, and Ambrose appeared behind Helmer, and he had been waiting for Helmer near the entrance. "Do you need anything?" asked Ambrose. "I started reading your good book, but there are a lot of concepts that contradict each other, and sometimes prophets act out of character. Why is that?" asked Helmer. "Huh. How much did you read?" asked Ambrose happily. "Oh, the book only has 737 words. I skipped the commentary," explained Helmer. "Well, there's your problem. The commentaries explain the doctrinal inconsistencies," said Ambrose. "I don't want to read others' opinions of the good book. I want you to explain to me the inconsistency," insisted Helmer. "Come sit with me then," said Ambrose. "Tell me of your doubts." Helmer spent the afternoon discussing theology with Ambrose, and he was far more knowledgeable on the subject matter than he let on. And during the early days he lived with Sunshine, the dragon maiden had insisted that Helmer find a religion, and she had taught Helmer the gist of her favorite religions, and she also taught him about the history of religion and how they had changed over time. All holy books were man-made works, and this is why there's always constant friction between the prophets who spoke directly with God and the priests who relied on tradition to control the hearts of the masses. At the end of the debate, both Ambrose and Helmer returned home quite thoughtful, and on that night Helmer decided to try Ambrose's trick to avoid nightmares, and he prayed before going to sleep, and he placed under his pillow a small prayer bead bracelet. And that night he managed to sleep without waking up because of a nightmare, and from then on he became a frequent face in the church, and he became so frequent that eventually others took notice. And at the start of March, his family discovered that his new little hobby. Mariana and Allan were working on the dragon as usual, and Marina was mentally brainstorming new cookie designs for the store. And Liam was the first permanent employee, and he would play the violin, and his music would draw in customers. And after talking with the customers, they stated that they desired different types of cookie shapes and flavor. And Allan was thinking of different flavor combinations and ingredients, and Marina was serving a frequent customer who liked to chat. "Congratulations, Marina," said the lady. "What for?" asked Marina shyly. "Well, you finally got that demon of your father to go to church, and if you can reform even him, then you're wasting your talents as a waitress," said the lady. "Yes," said Marina cautiously, "and I am always encouraging him to seek salvation, and just because he's a little sinner, it doesn't mean that he cannot go to heaven. He only needs to try harder." Well said, Marina, said the lady, and I can see why your family often calls you a little saint. Keep up the good work with your old man. Marina returned to the kitchen quite confused, and she said to her brother, "Do you know that Dad has been going to church?" "I heard that rumor as well," said Allan, and he turned to look at Seabreeze, who was giggling inside her little pouch. "Is this true, my little angel?" Seabreeze nodded in response. "By the gods," said Allan, "Seabreeze understood and she responded to me." "Is she talking already?" asked Marina, coming closer. "No, she just nodded in response," said Allan. "I think you're overthinking things again," said Marina, "and between you and Sunshine, Seabreeze is going to be about average as far as intelligence is concerned." "Are you calling me stupid?" barked Allan angrily. Allan and Marina ended their shift and they went to the shop to assist Liam, and the two started to make new cookie designs. And Liam said, "Gregory, let's some drawings with cookie design ideas." "Again with the slug," said Allan, laughing. "Look, I came up with some new ideas as well," said Caron, holding up a collage book. "And I clip images from my encyclopedia, and I think we could do floral themes or maybe sea life since we live by the ocean. And we can even do cookies that resemble corals." "Good idea," said Allan, giving a thumbs up. "Allan, thank you for saying that," said Caron shyly. Allan kissed Caron and he said, "It is a good idea, and let's start with basic seashells and maybe manila clam cookies. Ooh, we can add a candy pearl in the center." "Sounds like a fun idea," said Marina. "Good work, Caron." "And I heard the Helmer's going to church," said Liam. "You heard as well," said Marina, surprised. "I heard from Joshua," said Liam. "And he starts Helmer sometimes, and he worries about the little guy wandering about by himself. And he's so distracted. It is a miracle he hasn't been run over by a carriage yet." "What does Dad do at church?" asked Marina. "Helmer just sits there to talk with Ambrose for a bit about theology before coming back to eat dinner. And other times he assists with the preparations for the Mass," explained Liam. "That explains the prayer bead I found under his pillow," said Caron. "The what?" barked Allan. "Surely you just—" "Nuh-uh, I will never lie to you about something regarding your father, Allan, my love," said Caron. "And I was doing the laundry and I felt that his bedsheets needed washing, and after getting everything clean, I put the bracelet back, the prayer beads back where I found it." "Should I talk to him about it?" asked Allan thoughtfully. "I don't know if he hasn't spoken about it, and maybe he wants to keep it a secret till he is certain about his conversion, and if we inquire about it, he might feel that we are pressuring him." "But I want us to go to Mass together as a family," said Marina. "Aha, but that is the core of the problem, Marina. And Father already worked us to death because of that attitude of ours. And let's just sit back and let things happen naturally. And he's already living with us, and as far as everything's concerned, I am pretty content," said Allan. "But we are talking about Father's immortal soul." "Settle down, Marina," said the others, laughing.